Hello, everyone. Welcome to, excuse my language, but I'm making this podcast fresh off of grief, which makes it very interesting. Bear with me. It's been a weird few weeks. If any of you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, I'm sure you've seen that my dog General passed away recently. And yeah, I've been kind of in a weird funk and mood, but it was funny. I went to a nonprofit meeting recently, and one of the nonprofits there was, I think it was called New Hope, all about grief. There's a whole nonprofit about grief and losing people, and one of the things they talked about was called grief brain, which as soon as she said it, I knew exactly what she meant, because I feel like I've been forgetful, missing things, or just not in my right mind, being able to like recognize the environment around me or what's going on, and that, or I'll be in a train of thought and then completely off somewhere else. And I know it's because, like, in the back of my mind, I'm still grieving, still getting used to life without him, because I've had him since he was, or since I was 18, I think. Got him in 2012. And General was by far the best dog on the entire fucking planet. So before I get started on the podcast, I want to toast to him, have a little drink. I have some whiskey right here, and then I'll tell a story or two about him, and then we can get into the podcast. All right. So here is to smiles, joy, relationships, and to love and life. All right. Ooh. Yeah, that is definitely some strong whiskey, but all right. So with that, I wanted to show you guys this video. I have first time hooking him up to my chair, and yeah,
Come
he
on,
was
General.
insane. He was such a crazy, fun, happy dog, but at the same time, so emotionally
This is
and
General trying to pull
intelligently, like, could start to look at you and start to recognize, okay, I obviously
Are
can't
you
pull
stuck?
this 600-pound chair,
Yeah, untangle
so
you.
I might as well start paying attention to
go.
where he's going, because he runs the show. And my sister is in the video, antagonizing him the entire time. The entire time, she's just
it'll be
like,
locked at 4 o'clock.
"Come
so.
on, doggy," and just trying
we should-
to push his buttons, and he's like, "Yo, I can't. He
Almost
can only
4.
go so fast."
He's out of breath
And
now.
If you
I
ever
think he
saw
wore himself
me
out.
in general out and about after this, because, like, yeah, right around here, he's like, okay. And I'm purposefully trying to go as slow as possible so that he has to really, like, get challenged.
Oh, he's doing so
And,
good
yep,
now.
and right at the end here, you see, he's just walking along, looking back to see where I am. And that is the true representation of General, what he meant to me the entire time in our relationship. It's our relationship to a T, because so funny story. So I would take him out to college. One of my nurses lives 5 minutes away from our house. So she would come grab him from the house and then take him out to Ann Arbor. Here, can you push my glasses? Just push them straight. Yep. So she would come pick him up, take him out to Ann Arbor to me at my dorm, and then we just kind of go to class, go out and walk in the diag, or just walk around the city. And I would take him everywhere without a leash at all. Because just from that video you just saw, once he knew to follow me, I could take him there anywhere without a leash, and he would just walk next to me and constantly, like, check on me and make sure. And then we had an electric fence in our yard. And my dad spent a lot of time training him, walking around the neighborhood, teaching him commands like slower, stop, and would tell him to stop at every like crosswalk, every stop sign. And he would naturally pick up on that. He's like, oh, you want me to stop and not cross the street? I got you. Or you don't want me to go into the street? I got it. So he was so freaking smart. Yeah, he would start to get stubborn. And so in Ann Arbor, he would just go. He would just go. He would know not to walk in the street. He would know when he could walk across crosswalks and not. So it was crazy. Like he'd be 20, 30 feet in front of me. And he would just look back, make sure what direction I was going in. And I would like confirm to him like, okay, we're going straight. Or no, we're going left over that way. Go that way. And he would just follow the sidewalk the whole time. And if it was a crosswalk and we had to cross the street, he would look at the other students and see if they were crossing or not. Same shit that we do as humans. And he would watch and be like, okay, now we're crossing. Okay, now we're crossing. And it got to the point where I was like, still giving him the verbal commands he needed, but then at some point I was just like, all right, this dog is way too damn smart. He gets it. So, and then once we would get out to the diag, which is like this big courtyard of just green grass and cement, students walking by, going to and from class. Oh, I'm good, by the way. Yeah. And we'd be going to and from class, and we'd be out on the diag. And this was back when like Snapchat first came out. When it first came on the scene, Snapchat was popping. So he would be running around the diag, chasing people on skateboards, and trying to knock people off their bikes. That was like the one problem area I had, was trying to keep him away from people on wheels. He had this thing about wheels that he just would jump at them. So as you can imagine, riding a bike or riding a skateboard, if a dog jumps at you and pushes on you, you're not going to be on there very long. But on the diag, a funny thing, I would look on the diag story on Snapchat later that night, and there would be a bunch of other students who would take videos of him. He was like the famous campus dog around. And I remember other students used to be like, oh, is that your dog? Like, because the diag was so big, as long as he could see me, he felt safe. So I would sit and enjoy the sunshine, just sit out there. I would read a book, I would do whatever, and he would just be running around saying hi to people. And it was like, and G had this knack for getting people to love him by like just wearing them down with his cuteness. He would sit in front of them and just look at them. He would just look at you directly in your eyes, and he would just look and smile with that big old puppy dog smile of his. And so this picture is actually on campus. This is at my dorm. And it was like one of the first snows, or there was a bunch of snow outside. And he went outside, we let him out, and we just stayed inside. And he went outside in the snow and just rolled around and jumping around, rolling around in the snow. And then he came back inside, and this was the smile he gave. And my sister just like took a picture. She had him up on her chest and stuff. And yeah, he was just, I remember other students with service dogs used to be jealous. They would be like, wow, how is this dog so good? And my actual service dog doesn't do what he does. Because I would go without a leash. I'd be walking around. He'd be walking right next to me. If I told him to stay close, he'd stay close. And I would get in the elevator with other people who had an actual service dog. And they would be like, no, don't pet him. He's working. And I'd be like, you can pet him. He's not working. He is, but he's not. And like, he listens to me so well. He would go get attention and then come right back to me. So yeah, it's I've been a bit shook without this, because for the last, even since I got home from college, our bond got even closer. He would always lay under my chair when I was working. If I got on the quadricizer, he'd be right there next to the quad, laying down. And the nurses hated it because they'd be like, he's just in the way. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm just enjoying every second of this. He loves me. He wants to be close to me. He feels safe close to me. So I'm just going to enjoy this. And yeah, it's been tough not having that, because in moments, so especially as we as we go into the winter, as we go into the winter solstice, and the amount of light every day is getting less and less, pretty much everybody in Michigan is depressed and sad. And I know there's like that SAD acronym for like seasonal something depression. And I definitely feel it, because as I have my tough moments and my tough days, I realize the one thing in my life who used to just build me up every time I got down is not here. And it's tough. It's really tough. On that note, I wanted to do a podcast talking about the importance of independence after a spinal cord injury, because one of the biggest taglines for the Drew Crew and our nonprofit is we are ambassadors of independence, especially after injury and spinal cord injury, especially because you go from having so much independence in your life before your accident that is completely and when it's completely taken away, it really throws your life out of whack, because that's where the depression sets in. That's where the bleakness and looking at life in just despair and distraught comes in, because it's like, okay, what can I do? I can't do anything. I can't. Like, if you look on the surface level of everything, I can't do anything. If you were to just look at my injury, I can't even breathe on my own. So the first thing we try to do after a spinal cord injury is to increase someone's independence, because that fills them up and brings back their confidence and courage and want and urge to live on and keep living life. So like, one of the biggest things for me with independence, I think about when I was a 15-year-old kid before my accident. And you might think, oh, what 15-year-old is independent? And at the time, I thought I was. I thought I was completely independent. And obviously, all you parents out there are like, that was by choice. And I completely tip my hat off to my dad, who really empowered me to increase my independence gradually and let me be me. At the same time, just hearing stories, I know he was overseeing from afar. And that's why I say, like, independence is in quotes, because as a 15-year-old, I was definitely on the higher spectrum of independence. As a 15-year-old, I had a high level of work ethic. I had a high level of routine. I had a high level of wanting to do more. And I knew that in order to do more, I had to make sure I had things in place. So as a 15-year-old kid, if you can imagine this, I picture this right before my accident. I was doing football and marching band at the same time. And then I went straight from that into the basketball season, played on the basketball team. And then right after that, it was right after the basketball banquet that I had my accident. Or maybe I missed the banquet or something like that. It's 14 years, guys. I can't remember everything, but I definitely remember my routine. Absolutely. Because I knew going in, when they said I could do football and marching band together, I immediately said, okay, let me picture this in my head. What things do I need to have in place in order to do those fun things? I want to play football. I want to be in marching band and enjoy both of those things. So how can I make that happen? And yeah, it ended up being like, so what I call it is freedom with foundation. In order to have the freedom we desire and want we have to have a foundation. Spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, you have to have a foundation. And for me, my foundation before my accident was my morning routine. So most days, I would do football and marching band. I would get home at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. And when I would get home, my brain would not be functioning. I would have a stack of homework I needed to finish. And at the same time, there was no way. I would try to open the book and I would just be staring at it. And my head would just be nodding. And then I wouldn't even comprehend what I was reading. So I was like, okay, I must switch this up. So my foundation turned out to be, as soon as I got home, I would go to sleep. And then I would get up at 2 a.m. And at 2 a.m., I would get all my homework done from 2 to 5. I would get in the shower at 5 a.m. because I knew my sister would want to get in the shower about 5:30 and she would take fucking forever. So I was like, all right, I got to get in there early. And then if I'm the first one in the shower, obviously I'm the first one out and ready. And so after my shower, I would go make our lunches, make both my sister and my lunches to take to school, which, yeah, you don't want that from a little brother, especially one that's trying to gain weight for football. I would just pack myself like 2 sandwiches all the time. And then if Desiree ever like pissed me off or irritated me, I would fuck up her lunch. I would put nothing but like a big old stack of fruit snacks in there and then nothing else. So I was still a crazy little brother, but at the same time, I had this foundation, and my routine and foundation in the morning was crucial for me to do what I needed to do as a quote-unquote independent 15-year-old. So translate that to spinal cord injury. My routine and my foundation right now is my wearable therapy. That is what I do every night, and I've done it every night for 14 years. And if you've seen, and I'll put a link right here in the description and in the video here if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to put a link to my night routine. So my night routine is 100% my foundation right now because I do multiple hours of wearable therapy, and that keeps my muscles strong, keeps my body strong, limits my spasms, limits muscle or completely prevents muscle atrophy, and gets me the workout I need to get every day, and gets me the number of the goal is to get the same number of muscle contractions as if I was up walking all day, and do it all at night. And that has been my foundation, and that is what keeps me healthy. So with that allows me the freedom to go do the things I want to do. Like I said, freedom with foundation. And I think the same goes for, you can look at it at a spiritual level as well. You can do the same spiritually. You can have a spiritual foundation that allows you to go live life and do whatever, quote unquote, you want to go do. But at the same time, you have a spiritual foundation and things more morally that you keep close to your heart. Having a foundation in any form is huge for each and every one of us. And I have a spiritual foundation along with my physical foundation. And it really goes hand in hand. Something my dad used to always say is a strong mind and strong body go hand in hand. And I totally agree to that. Absolutely. Because you can't have one without the other. Or not that you can't have one without the other. Having a strong mind gives you the formula or the strength and mental fortitude to be able to have a strong body and go after those things. And having a strong body gives you the backbone of being able to be strong mentally, because you know how to push through adversity. You know how to push through discomfort. You know how to push through all these things, like no pain, no gain. And it's like, yeah, absolutely. And it translates into your mental status throughout the day. So I completely agree that strong mind and strong body go hand in hand. So that is freedom with foundation. Yeah, you need a foundation in your life, especially after a spinal cord injury. After that, I like to call it control without command. Control without command. So in the reality of a spinal cord injury, I really can't do anything without somebody's help and without somebody else. Like, if me getting set up to do this podcast took me about an hour teaching my new nurse here how to set up the microphone, how to put things together, and just walking her through what we do. And eventually it's going to get to the point where I just say, hey, I'm about to do a podcast, set it up. And she'll know exactly what that means. She'll know every little bit, a piece of that. But until then, I have to walk her through every little bit. And doing so gives me the control to do a podcast, to use my computer with my joystick, to use my phone is me. So it's still control. I have control over whether or not I'm able to use my phone or use my joystick. But when I say control without command, you don't want to be a commander. You don't want to be commanding people to do things for you. Trust me, I've been there, done that. And the more you try to command things in your life, the less control you have of the outcome. Trust me. That's just how it works. Like, how many of you know a circumstance in your life where you just tried to hold on and have control of it, and really you're trying to command it to do what you want it to do, and you're trying to command this thing to happen? I want to command a better job. I want to command a better relationship. I want to command a better situation, any type of situation in your life. And it can be small, something as small as I want to command that my car is working, and I just want it to make it work properly. And then all of a sudden, life happens. You blow a tire, or transmission goes out, or something minuscule. Your windshield wipers stop working, or for me, my headlights stop working, and something that like I can't control. Like, I bought my van recently in 2016, so which is not very recent. But as soon as I bought it, the company was discontinued. So we pretty much knew that parts were going to get harder and harder to get. But now the company is completely dissolved. It's completely gone. And right now, all my lights on my car, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Right now we're driving around with my brights on. And unfortunately, we're going to have to go purchase a new vehicle if I want to stay being independent. So that's what I mean by independence. You have to have control without command. I can't command anything to happen. Even just asking one of my nurses to set up my phone, they could not do it. Or they could do it improperly and not be in the right position for me to use it. Or they could do it and it not be in the right position to where I try to use it, but I can't. Or even just something as simple as they set it up perfectly, and then I drop my stylus, and then I can't use it. I can't reach it. So it's one of those things. Control to me is having the possibility to be able to do whatever it is you want. Maybe not right now, maybe not all at once, but eventually you'll get there. So that's control to me. Having the opportunity to do the things you want to do. Whether it's, for me, as simple as using my phone. For you guys, for any able-bodied person, it might be something as simple as driving your car. You just want to have the opportunity to be mobile and be active. Or it could be something as simple as, honestly, brushing your teeth. Something so small. And you still have to do the things in place to be able to do that thing. So, but yeah, at the same time, you don't have command of it. So And like I said, I've gone through this. This is me talking by experience, trying to command the situation over and over and over, day after day after day, and all it did was eat at me. All it did was eat at me. When I was in college, I had command over everything around me, whether it was supplies and my supplies or my dorm room and how everything was in there. I made sure everybody was on point and doing everything to the T. And all it did was drive me fucking crazy. I can't even tell you I'm thinking back to my college years, having that college experience. I went to one of the greatest colleges in the country. And because of my commanding attitude, I wasn't in the moment able to experience and enjoy that college experience. It was about a year after my graduation. I was back home, just went through some shit, and I started going to meditation once a week. Shout out to Sama Style Yoga in Royal Oak or at Ferndale. They were there for me, honestly, and teaching me the practice of letting go and letting life flow through you. No matter what it is, no matter how hard it is, no matter how scary it is, no matter how abrupt and challenging, adverse situations come to you, you accept them for what they are. Let them come in and let them flow out. Because life will always find a way to work out. It just does. And it's not what you want to hear in the moment. When you're in the moment, you're just upset. You're upset. You want things to be the way you want them, and you're not able to hear it. But anybody that's ever gone through any hardship will always tell you it's going to work out. You're going to get through it. And when you get through it on the other side, the hope is that you're a stronger person for it. So that's control without command. After that, freedom with foundation and control without command really give you the opportunity. If you can master those two things, there is where your true expression and individuality can come out. Because you're not tarnishing any opportunities that come your way. You're not making any relationships in your life toxic, and there's no toxicity that can bother you because you have this barrier to where you're like, okay, I have my foundation, so I have the freedom to do as I please, whatever that means. And then control. I have the control that I need, not command, but I have the control of things around me. And one thing I didn't mention as far as control, especially after a spinal cord injury, it can be as simple as, especially, it's so easy right now after Alexa and all the technologies are here right now. It really just allows you to be able to increase the amount of things. I can control the thermostat, the door in my room. You might be able to see above my head. I have a door opener on my room so I can open and close my door. I have control of my TV. I have control over different technologies around me. And that adds so much independence to someone in my position because it just gives them back the ability to do things without having to ask somebody. And the more you can do that after injury or in somebody's life in my position, just limits not so much the true chemical like depression in people's minds, because there are absolutely people who have clinical depression, but for those who have environmental depression and anxiety, it just helps diminish that as much as possible. So after that, you're free to live as you want, because you have your foundation, and then you can control the things you can control. And with those two things in place, you can really start to express yourself. One of the biggest things after my injury was like, I had no idea how to express myself without being able to move. I played football. I was in marching band. Most of my personality was being an athlete and doing and dancing in the musicals and doing like funny expressions motion wise. And that was my personality. So after my injury, it was almost like, okay, I really have no idea how I can still have a personality. None whatsoever. I'm not very talkative. In my actual life, I don't talk very much, especially in public, because like on a ventilator, nobody can hear me anyway. When I'm out in public, if I'm at a bar, they always have music, people talking, nobody can hear me. So it turns into I'm just an observer, and I stay quiet and observe. At the same time, I can't move either. So it took like early on, after I graduated college, I really took a time period to try to figure out how I would express myself after my injury. And I'm usually the first one on the dance floor when I'm at parties or at a bar or anything. If they have a dance floor, I'm usually the first one out there. And I just enjoy life because music is one of my favorite things ever. So I just go out there and spin in circles. That's what makes me happy. So I just do what makes me happy. Individuality and expression. I've got my ear and nose pierced. I have a tattoo and plan on getting more. Things like that. Or going to do activities. There are so many different organizations that will do like accessibility nights. I just went and saw at iFly, the indoor skydiving, they had a all ability night, and they showed me how they'll get me into this indoor skydiving tube. So keep an eye out for that. Soon, I'm definitely going to try that. And I know eventually I want to go down to Ohio. There's a skydiving place that specializes in people with disabilities. And yeah, it's going to be scary. It's going to be vulnerable. I have to just let go and try it. And I'm not afraid to do that. Having the freedom and the control in your life really lets you open up and express yourself in different ways you wouldn't expect. After that, I'm just going to say the most crucial thing after that is love and grace for yourself and for others. That's the most critical thing, if I can preach anything to any of you. Love and grace for yourself especially, and that will trickle out and just flow out to where you have love and grace for others around you. And that means having an open heart, not being overly critical or judgmental, patient kindness, not being envious of what other people have and don't have. Especially after spinal cord injury. It's still something I battle with. Not being envious of those around me. Seeing other people do things that I can't do. And I know right now it's hyper-focused because I'm grieving, but I also recognize, because I'm able to recognize that, I don't let it affect me as much. I know that my envy comes from my grieving, and I know I'm going to get through it. I will, and I'll be stronger because of it, and I'll go do things that I've never thought imaginable. And I just have that strong belief and faith that things will get better. This feeling will get better. A part of me has truly been stripped away. One of the greatest things about General is the fact that so if you're watching on YouTube, I have a photo up of me and him at a golf outing. And as you can imagine, as the person organizing and running the golf outing, it's a pretty stressful day for me. Yeah, I'm constantly on trying to go do this, do that, do this, do that. And he was really my personality. He was for the day. Because if you even just look at this photo, you can see I'm focused, I'm determined, I'm going on to the next activity. And he is just smiling, walking next to me, just enjoying life, enjoying the moment. He's like, man, I don't get to get out much, and this is fucking awesome. And I'm trying to instill that in my heart and still feel him with me and start doing those things myself, because I have to. I can't rely on anybody else to be that way for me. I have to figure out how to be the same motivational and determined person while at the same time being a light for all those around me. So that's where this grief journey is taking me, and I'm going through it. I'm going through the process of realizing, like, okay, I can't look over my shoulder and see him there anymore. I just gotta do it. Just gotta do it. And I hope each and every one of you who are going through something right now or have ever gone through something are able to make those changes in your life, changes in yourself, make that growth. You have a choice. When you start to go through hardship in your life, you have a choice. You can either get worse or you can get better. That's really what it is. You can stay where you are, stay how you are, and just regress because you've lost that, or because that thing didn't work out, or because you're grieving, whatever type of situation, whether it was a job you didn't get, a relationship that didn't work out, or whatever it is. Or you can choose to change and open your heart to changing, not just for yourself, but every single person you come across. Every single person will be better off because you've done that. And I've seen it with not just with myself, but with other people around me. So many other people around me. I have strong examples, especially my dad, but strong examples all in my life of people who have grown and changed and evolved. And I just see how the inner workings of life change those around you, and not just change those around you, but change, and that then spreads out because you change that one person, then they spread and change themselves, and they change for those around them, and it's just constant over and over and over. And that's what I think life is about. That's why we're here. That's why we have all these generations of children underneath us. You might look at the other generations beneath us and be like, oh, they're idiots. So were you. So were you. And they're going to grow and change the exact same way we did. And all I do is pray that they have the open space to do so. And I pray that you do too. So thank you guys for listening to Excuse My Language, but I'm your host, Drew Claiborne. Talk to you later. Thank you so much for making it to the end of my video. I appreciate you so much. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, so that you can stay up to date with the next video.